Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Gen Z Sanctum. I am here with, of course, my friend Nathan, who's joining me today as usual. Say hello, Nathan.
Yes.
Uh,
Hello.
anyway, we're back on Discord, hoping that it doesn't poop out on us in the middle of the episode like it did last time, and we had to switch to a Facebook Messenger call. But I make no promises because Discord can sometimes be okay and then totally poop out on us, and we have to do something else. So no promises, but frickin', it's up to Discord and my internet and just everything.
Just everything.
Exactly. So, we always start off these episodes with talk that is small. So,
Very
Nathan,
small, in fact.
do you want to?
So small that I don't have anything to say. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow, because last week we had long talk.
A lot.
We had long talk last week because you just.
So I'm gonna make up for it and just not say anything. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay. Wow. No, I'm kidding. So what is your small talk this week?
Well, all I gotta say is work was super boring this week, and I loved it. Thumbs up. I hate it
Cool.
when work is boring.
Um, That sounds like fun when work is totally boring. So, what all was boring? Like no trucks, none of that kind of stuff.
No work. No work. I think it was like Tuesday. Tuesday,
Okay.
half the day, like no joke. I'm not even kidding. Half the day I was sitting around with nothing to do. Like I'm not even kidding. 4 hours sitting around, nothing to do.
Wow.
I even went up to my boss and was like, "Is there anything I can do?" And he's like, "Not really." Even my boss was standing around with nothing to do. He would occasionally take phone calls. He would sometimes sit up front to be like, the guy up front, answer phone calls so everybody else could work on customers' view. Customers' cars aren't even really coming in either. Like we have uh our parking lot's empty.
Wow.
But funny enough is my boss was suggesting the idea that I grab my inflatable dinosaur costume, grab a sign that says Castleton Auto Repair, and just run up and down 82nd Street.
Wow. Wow.
I thought it was hilarious. He was originally saying a chicken suit. I'm like, I've got a dinosaur costume. He was like, don't say that. You'll tempt me. I'm like, all right, I'm going home to get my dinosaur costume. Just walk in.
That would be fun. But here's the thing.
Just one of these
Here's
one of these days I just want to walk into work in that dinosaur costume and be like, where's my sign?
What'd be funny though.
Just play along with the joke.
Yeah.
Uh,
What would be funny is if, like, on a boring day where you're like, yeah, I'm leaving. I'm gonna go get my dinosaur costume. The moment you leave, like 9 trucks show up. Would be like really
well,
like
the thing is, okay.
yeah.
Well, the thing is that we don't even have that many trucks at one time. Like we
Okay.
just don't. Um, the max we will have is 3.
Ah.
There was one time that we had 4, but that's because one of the truck was getting its powertrain ripped out, and it was donating. The engine was going to one truck, and the transmission was going to another. So we had multiple trucks towing over at once. So we had 4 at a time, but usually
Ah.
it's 3 max. So
Ah. So all
and all the
three of them
trucks have
show
been
up.
small.
All three of them show up and they want you
Yep.
to do it right away, and that's only as soon as you leave to go do something cool. That's basically what would happen.
Well,
So,
to be honest,
yeah,
like, I mean, what am I gonna leave and go do? Just go home, sit at home? I'm like, I want something to do while I'm at work. Like,
exactly.
there are a lot of people out there who just like, oh, I love to sit around. I'm like, what is wrong with you people?
Their face.
Okay, first of all, sitting around makes the day go by 10 times longer. Like when you're
True.
sitting around, you're watching the clock constantly and you're like, oh, there's got to be 30 minutes. You look 5 minutes have gone by. You're like, oh, like it's
Exactly.
horrible.
Exactly.
If you're that kind of person that like loves to sit around on your phone and do nothing, to be honest, I'll sit around on my phone, but that's when I have nothing to do. And even I get bored of that. Like, I'm on my phone for like a max 30 minutes, which is even super long for me. And I get up, I'm like, I need to walk around. I need something to do. Give me something to do.
Ah,
Like, it was one day where we were so slow that I worked on the boss's truck. And when I
okay.
work on the boss's truck, that means we're slow. That means we're slow.
So what
That's
did
what
you
that
end up
means.
doing? Like reorganizing your drawers or anything like that?
Just cleaned up my bay. I already have my toolbox organized how I want to. I
Yeah.
love how my toolbox is organized. Have you ever seen like some people they'll just throw their tools in their toolbox, like sockets will be scattered everywhere, ratchets will be scattered
So
everywhere.
basically
I'm like,
my dad.
how do you find tools in here?
Basically my dad's
If your
toolboxes.
dad does it, yes.
In fact, one of these days,
No, you open mine.
yeah, one of these days
Huh?
you need to show up and we can open the garage and just look at everything he's dragged home from some like closeout sale or something just to see like all the bunches of tools that he's just dragged in to our garage.
Yeah, but the toolbox I've seen your dad have, that's a pretty good sized toolbox.
So there's a lot. And yeah, it's
Did
a
he
lot,
get
Nathan.
that toolbox from like a sale or something, like an estate sale, or did he like buy it from Home Depot?
It's from a store. I don't know if it's either Home Depot or Lowe's, but it
Oh.
basically
Okay, well,
it
it's
basically
a
was a
husky,
close.
right? Isn't it?
I think so. I'd have to look, but it was just kind of
Okay, if it's a
sitting.
husky, Lowe's doesn't offer husky. Home
Oh,
Depot
okay.
does.
Well, anyway, wherever it came from, basically he got
Where
it
it
for
came
like,
from somewhere.
yeah, it came from somewhere, and it was like he talked to them and like whittled them down to like 80% off. Uh, and he basically just got it home, and he was like, "Look," and I'm like, "Oh, cool, more stuff to shove in the garage." It was great.
Yeah, it looks like the toolbox was like shoved in there,
Oh yeah.
like
So
just kind of squeezed in there. All right, good enough.
basically. So that was freaking annoying, and now because here's the thing, we were planning on like moving some stuff into the garage, like maybe a car, parking it in there or something, but like he ended up being like, "Nope, we're gonna freaking just put it in there. Frick you. We're gonna freaking shove it in there. I'm gonna freaking And we're like, oh, okay, all right, that kind of thing. Anyway, um, so yep, we we All right, no, I'm done.
We
Is yes, exactly,
we
exactly.
that probably glitched out, didn't it?
Oh, it sure did, Nathan. Frick you. All right, now I'm done. But no, ow. We have a topic, ladies and gentlemen. We
We do have a topic.
yes. So
What will be the topic?
today's topic is something that we've kind of talked about a little bit before, but we have also not done a dedicated episode for it, so I thought, hey, why not? So here we are doing a dedicated episode on hospitals. I know, not exactly what you thought. Not exactly what you thought to be the thing that we do,
Topic.
the topic exactly. But it's the topic. So there you go. Frick you, Nathan, for thinking. No, I'm kidding. No, no, yeah, no, it's the topic.
Wow.
It's it. We are doing the
Yes,
topic.
I've gathered it's the topic. You said it's the topic like 10 times. Get
No,
to your pot. No, I'm just kidding.
no, I haven't, Nathan. I'm kidding. So basically, the rules for this episode are basically what like why we've been either in the hospital or to the hospital, like if we've been to the hospital to like visit someone, like basically just tell a story about that, or like and you've told the story of when you pierced your eardrum with a frickin' Q-tip.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of like stories like that, for like whatever reason, stories that you've been to a hospital either because you were in it or needed like something done, or you were visiting someone. That's the topic essentially.
Okay, gotcha.
So you want to start us
So,
off?
are you gonna start us off?
We said it at the same time. We were just like, so you do it.
I will take that. I'm starting us off.
Yes.
So I am going to relay a story I have already told,
Oh,
but
okay.
because it's for the topic, I'm going to excuse the one time that I told it.
Oh, okay.
So when I was about, I think it was like three, I think, 2 or 3,
Mm-hmm.
young. So my ears tend to get pretty clogged pretty
Yep.
easily, and I have very narrow ear canals, so they need to be cleaned out fairly often, or I kind of like lose hearing, or it gets compacted on my eardrum and it's painful. So my mom was helping me clean out my ears, and this was, keep in mind, this was the night of Halloween. Like, she was cleaning my ears right before I was going to go out trick-or-treating.
Nice.
So she was cleaning up my ears, helping me with it, and she hears the phone ring.
Okay.
So she drops the Q-tip and
Mhm.
runs out to get the phone.
I kind of know where this is going.
Explains how this is gonna really expose how dumb I can be. Well, at least, I mean, not as dumb now, but I was really dumb back then.
No,
But
Nathan,
also,
you're still dumb
how
now.
can you blame a 3-year-old?
You're still dumb now.
Oh, gosh dang it. Oh, wow.
I'm
Okay,
kidding.
so everything's coming out now. What?
I'm kidding. Continue. Wow.
Anyway. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, mom goes and answers the phone.
Uh-huh.
And then she leaves the Q-tip on the bathroom counter, and I pick it up. I'm like, huh. This is really interesting. So you know the saying curiosity killed the cat?
You almost killed yourself.
So I almost stabbed my brain. So I picked up the Q-tip. I'm like, I know exactly what mom was doing. I can finish it. I'm a big boy. And I just take it and I just kerchink right all the way in and blast my eardrum so bad
Wow.
that I drop the Q-tip on the floor. And I run out screaming, and blood is okay. For anybody who listens to this that doesn't like blood,
he just said the word blood, guys. Faint.
You're hearing it. It's audible.
Faint.
Maybe
you hear the word. Just close your eyes and imagine red gushing liquid.
Gushing. Wow.
All right.
Wow.
All right. So half of our audience is fainted now. Continue.
Yes, good. Nah, I'm just kidding.
Good. So, wait, hold on a second. You said good, Nathan. You said good. Hold on a second. You want half our audience to freaking die? All right. No, continue.
Wow. Let me finish.
No, I'm kidding.
So, anyway, blood is gushing out my right ear, which I shoved the Q-tip into. My mom's still on the phone. And whoever was on the phone, she's like, I gotta go. My stupid son shoved a Q-tip in his ear. We gotta go to the hospital now.
Wow.
So my brother ended up having to take we use like plastic pumpkins for our candy. He ended up having to take mine, and he said it was extremely embarrassing to have to go to every door and say, yeah, my brother would have gone trick-or-treating, but instead he decided to shove a Q-tip down his ear. So he unfortunately wasn't able to participate.
Why did he say it like that, though? Why did he say it like that?
Because he was my brother.
Oh, okay.
Why. But I mean, keep in mind, my brother, I mean, this is still when we were super young. I was probably like 5 at
Yeah.
this point. So a couple years later, he had dropped a like ceramic dinner plate on his head and cracked his head open. And keep
Yeah.
in mind, I mean, if I was 5, he was like 7 or 8, so his skull hadn't completely, you know, there were still soft spots, not a lot, but he cracked his skull open, had to get staples in his head.
Wow.
And when he came home, my mom showed him his head, and all I could say was nice. That's all I said was nice, and walked
Nice.
away.
Wow. Just
And
nice.
that was in
I
the
don't
house
freaking
that
care
my
though.
parents were in. So that kind of gives you yeah. Yeah, that would have been the house they were. Yeah. So we would have just moved in to the house we're currently in when this
Nice.
took place. So we hadn't even been in that house for a full year yet when this story took place.
That's funny.
So yeah, and for whatever reason, I could remember distinctively the hospital room. Keep in mind, this is a very small kid hospital, emergency care.
Okay.
Um, and when we walked in, for whatever reason, I screamed at the initial impact. For whatever reason, I just didn't care that my eardrum was gone and I couldn't hear out of my right ear. Like I was deaf in my right ear
Yeah.
for the time being. So instead, I was walking around playing with the kids' toys.
With
And my mom was like stressed out that I had punctured my eardrum, and I'm just walking around playing with the kids' toys.
that's funny.
I was very oblivious to what had actually happened.
Wow.
So then we went in. The doctor looked in my ear like, "Wow." The
You
doctor's
fricked
like,
up.
"Wow, okay, so
You
this
really
is
fricked
going to
up.
need a big surgery. We're going to need to cut your ear open to take care of this." And I had
Uh
to get a surgery scheduled with my ear doctor
huh.
to get my ear completely sliced open, and he had to go in and he took you have cartilage on your ear. He basically had to salvage some cartilage from my ear and basically replace it with a fake eardrum.
Ah, interesting.
So I can obviously hear out of my right ear perfectly fine,
Good.
but the unfortunate thing about getting ear surgery like that is I cannot go scuba diving. Like even if
Ah,
I wanted to
okay.
get certified, I cannot.
Interesting.
Because these cartilage eardrums are not as strong as regular eardrums.
Okay.
Regular eardrums are a lot stronger because you know cartilage. Cartilage is really flimsy.
Yeah.
So it's not very durable. So if I were to go really deep and not be able to, especially, oh, what's the word?
Uh,
Um, equalize.
yeah.
Equalize properly, my eardrums would literally explode.
Or
Like
that
literally explode.
that one, or
So
just
so
both of them?
we don't. What do you mean? Oh,
Because you only
yeah.
punctured
I
one
haven't gotten
ear.
to that yet. I will tell that story later.
Oh,
But that
okay.
is how my right ear. So I have a fake eardrum in both ears.
So
But I
did
will
you
get
jam it
to
in
why I have a
both?
fake eardrum in my left
Did
ear.
you? Did you just like?
No, I did not.
Ah!
This was
Oh,
this
it's
was a
fine then.
few
Let
years
me.
later
It was
when I
fine
got this
then.
one, and I remember
I'm gonna.
this one.
Yeah. Let me do this funny
Do
thing.
you
So
want me to? Do you want
yeah.
me to tell that story
Yeah,
now?
hold on a second. So basically, I'm like, I know there's a story, but like at first, I was imagining you being like, "Oh, oh, okay. I got that air. Let me do the other one." Oh, and you did both at the same time. I'm kidding. No. You have another story though.
Wow.
So tell me what happened to your other ear then.
Yeah. Okay, so what happened my other year? This was when I was. Oh boy, like, nah, I think it was like 8,
Okay.
maybe. So this was a few years later.
You're still an idiot at this
It was
point, though.
nothing. I did not blow up my eardrum.
Oh, okay.
I got a really really bad ear infection in my left ear,
Okay.
and we tried antibiotics, everything. You know the antibiotic ear drops you can get, oral, all that to get rid
Oral.
of. And
Okay.
unfortunately, a pill.
Yeah. No, that's. I know what you meant.
Freaking idiot.
What were you thinking?
You You dirty-minded.
What were you thinking? Anyway, no, continue.
Anyway, so the ear infection was so bad it literally dissolved my left eardrum.
Dissolved. Okay.
So I also, yeah, like the infection ate away at my eardrum.
I love when that happens.
So it didn't completely destroy it, but it broke it away enough to where I needed it replaced.
Okay.
So I distinctly remember. So when I got my first surgery in my right ear, so I had that gas that some people will get to
The laughing
put
gas.
you out for the surgery. That's what they basically called it. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was first woken up with my first surgery, I did not want to wake up. I was just sitting there like the nurse was trying to wake me up. Hey, this is surgery, so it's time for you to wake up. I'm like,
Go away!
Okay.
Freaking go
I
away!
literally
I'm
went-
sleeping.
I went, yes, I was like, go away. So I could like faintly hear the nurse be like, can we get the mom in here?
It's not waking up.
Because I would have slept in the hospital room. Is he actually gonna wake up? No, my vitals were perfectly fine. It was just I didn't want to wake up.
Okay.
Like I was very stubborn to wake up. And I normally would wake up fairly easily, but I was just like, no,
No.
I ain't waking up. I ain't moving. So I was so tired that I still didn't wake up. I had to be carried into a wheelchair, pushed outside
Wow.
because I wouldn't wake up.
So
I
now,
was pushed out in a wheelchair because I wouldn't wake up.
so now you're uncomfortable. So now you're like, I'll wake up. It's fine.
You're like, fine. When I had to get into the car, I was like, okay, now I'm kind of awake, but I still want to sleep. But so now that I got that out of the way, going back to my left ear surgery.
Mm-hmm.
So due to the ear infection, I had to get another fake eardrum put in my left ear. So I had to, when I got that one in, it's really weird. When you get it put in, you can hear out of it, but it's like really, really muffled. It's like if you it's like if you plug your ear, but almost so you can hear a little bit less.
Okay.
So you kind of have to wait for it to recover and hear properly. But you get your hearing back, within a couple hours after the surgery's over. It's not like days with muffled hearing.
Right.
But it's really funny because with that laughing gas, it was so weird. I passed out and it felt like 20 minutes later I was awake. I was like, and I was out of curiosity. I was like, how much time has passed? Oh, it's been about 4.5 hours. And I was like,
Oh.
what?
What?
How long?
Oh yeah.
So the surgery takes 4.5 hours apparently.
Interesting.
So it's not like open heart surgery or anything like that, but they are opening your ear up.
Interesting.
So I have had people tell me, oh yeah, you can totally dive down to 15 feet. I'm like, I really can't.
Yeah, probably not.
Like I've even tried to dive to 12 feet, like force myself to dive to 12 feet, and I feel my eardrums like pop, like the bat pop, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's way too deep.
Yeah.
It sucks because I would love to experience scuba diving, but I can't, unfortunately.
Yeah, I remember a couple of times back when we were I think we were like teenagers or whatever, we would go to the swimming pool that was in your neighborhood or whatever. And isn't one end of that like about 12 feet or something?
Yeah.
So
yeah, deepest is 12 feet.
So yeah, I went down there and I dove down there. I was like, Nathan, this is so much fun. What? Come on down. And he's like, I really can't. So that's I think the first time you told me that story, was like back when we were really young and swimming in your neighborhood pool, which was really good actually. That was a really fun place.
The family swimming pool,
Yeah.
or the neighborhood swimming
yeah.
pool.
That was fun.
Well, not my neighborhood now, but my neighborhood that my parents still live in.
Right, the one you grew up in. So that's fun.
Yeah.
Love that.
So yeah, it was like everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, like you're lame." I'm like, "No, I'm not lame. I don't want to explode eardrum." And some people were just like, "I don't believe you." I'm like, "Well,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You're gonna have to believe me because I'm gonna blow my eardrums out to prove it to you."
Here, let me do it real quick. Boosh! Blood just gooshing at your ear. Yeah, you happy now? How did I prove it to you, huh? Nah. Well,
That would never be very pleasant. I would
no.
not want to do that to myself.
That would be funny, though. I mean,
All
for
right, I'll
everyone
let you
else.
go, but I have a I have a few hospital stories about me.
Okay.
But if you want to go, you can go.
Yeah, so basically, um, I was in the hospital a lot when I was young because of how freaking sick I was when I was very, very young. So, most of them I don't remember because I was like like a couple of weeks old and then a couple of months old, and then I was in and out of the hospital. Like at one point, I had to go into the hospital once a week to get um, labs done, which is essentially like they draw your blood, they
Like
test it, a
blood.
bunch of yeah, basically, and so what I can remember is the first time I was in the hospital to have ear tubes put in. So this is
Mm.
very, very interesting. So essentially, I had horrible ear infections as a kid as well, and to the point where basically they had to put ear tubes in. Which I haven't you had ear tubes once before? At some point,
Yeah, I
yeah,
had ear tubes in the ear that I had blown the eardrum out of. So
yeah.
yeah, I know they're horrible. They are not fun.
No, yeah, no. I had to have them in both ears, 3 times. So that's fun.
Ouch.
So I remember one time when I was, I think like 5 or 6. Um, I was doing something. I think I was talking to my dad in his office here at home, and I lean my head over to the side. I feel something in my ear, so I put my finger in, and the ear tube falls out in my hand, and
Wow.
I was all confused, like, huh, what is this?
Huh?
What
What is it?
what the sigma? No, but what the sigma? No, but
What the heck?
yeah, I was like, what is this? So I think that was the second time that I had eardrums, and then I had it again like a couple of months later. They had to put new ones in. But anyway, that was fun. I remember there was a little room. It's called an auditory testing chamber where you sit in this
Mhm.
soundproof chamber. You know this, right? These little soundproof
Yep,
chambers.
I've been in a few of
Yeah. Little
them.
soundproof chambers that you have a chair you sit in, there's a window, and there's little headphones you wear. And although this was before they had headphones, this was when they had to basically either mouth or they didn't explain, or they did explain before you went in. So it's just a soundproof room. I went in,
Mhm.
and they had these little like alcoves in the walls in different places to simulate like right ear, left ear, upper right ear, upper left ear, like some at face level, some like way up at like 7 or 8 feet in the air, in different places around the little auditory room to like simulate surround sound essentially. Like, can you hear sounds from everywhere or just specific like directions or whatever? And I remember
Mhm.
have a distinctive memory. This was me much younger, so I was sitting on my mom's lap at about like 3 or 4, When I, from your childhood where like you're too young to remember everything, but then like you have this one really clear memory from a certain point in time, but you can't really place when it was because everything else around it you don't remember.
Yeah,
But then there's this one thing you're like, oh yeah, that happened. Anyway, it was like that.
yeah.
My childhood is difficult to remember anyway because trauma, whatever. But this one thing I can remember. So, um, this one thing was freaking sitting in this chamber on my mom's lap, not laugh. What a freaking am I saying? Sitting in this chamber on my mom's lap, and they were these little alcoves had these little tiny stuffed animals, I think, that were wired up. So they'd have little tiny flutes or little tiny cymbals or whatever, and they'd like set them off in different, like either on my right or on my left. Ding, boop, 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 and basically it would gauge like what I could hear, because like whatever sound I heard and turned to, they would know I could hear it,
Mm-hmm.
because they couldn't like ask you like, can you hear this, like can you hear 40% of this sound or any of this. They would just like play the cymbals directly behind him. Does he turn to look at it? Yes. Okay, he can hear that. That's basically what it was at the time. uh I've done
Huh.
several
So
of
there was
those.
no button you pressed.
Yeah,
It
no,
was
no, no.
just like if you look.
Yeah, because I was so young, we didn't like. It was just they looked at the window like, ding, from the other side of the room, huh? And I turned around to look at it. Yeah, that he can hear from that ear, like, or he can hear that basically.
Oh yeah, you can hear it.
He can hear that.
Well, good.
This was during probably right before or right after the first set of eardrums went in. Um, but yeah, no, I did lose my hearing when I was very young, which is why they put ear tubes in, because when I was, how like babies like ha 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 laugh and like giggle and cry and stuff, and then it turns into speech as they get older. For me, I giggled and laughed, and then stopped making any noise at all for like when I was about like 2 or 3 for a while. Stopped making any sounds, and so it turned out that I couldn't hear anything. So that's hence the the ear tubes. Why am I getting the word eardrum and tube mixed up? I think I might be. My brain is just not working and can't be like separate those two words.
It's just like, oh, what's this?
Yeah.
What?
You've had that happen before where you combine two things together and you're like, no, that's not what I meant. Anyway, ear tubes.
No, it's this.
Ear tubes. So this was
Ear
right before
tubes.
my ear tubes went in. So I don't remember the hospital or the surgery or anything at all for that one specifically, but I do remember that room, the auditory testing room, where they had little stuffed animals with symbols that they would set off in different parts of the room to see if I responded, to see if I could hear them. And I could. So, yay, I'm not deaf today. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the rest of the hospital visits are all blurred out because too young and also like a bit traumatic. Because of them having to hold me down, which I've told you these stories before, which is they basically I would just rip IVs and stuff out whenever they needed to draw blood or put IVs in. So eventually they had to like have nurses and my mother hold me down to get what they needed out of me or into me. So my brain and body is like, block that out, make him not remember it. So that I don't remember. But let's see. I'll let you in a minute. I'll let you get back to another hospital story, but I'm trying to remember what's a more recent hospital story of mine. I suppose my most recent surgery on my finger, my granuloma, which was a whole pain and a half. I loved the anesthesia. It was great. They stuck the needle into my arm and wheeled me into the hospital room, or the operating room rather. And as we were going, because it wasn't a very long distance, so they could give me the anesthesia shot beforehand, because it takes a few moments to get in. So on the way to the room, things started I started to feel like drunk almost, like I started to space out. So when we got to the room, And they laid me on this hospital or operating table. Things started to close out, and they were like, "All right, we're gonna get started." They spoke loudly because I was starting to like lose it. So they're like, "All right, we're gonna get started. That okay with you?" Like loudly, and I was like, "Yeah, see you on the other side." And they laughed, and then bang out, pretty much like 5 seconds after, and then woke
Just
up.
like flipping a switch out.
Essentially, like everything was so blurred and blacking out to the point where I couldn't remember, and then boom, I was awake again in the other room. Here's the thing: the one thing that I hate about anesthesia is the waking up part. The weird feeling before you knock out beforehand is great. The like right after is the part I don't like because it takes so long to wake up, and you're just feeling like well, either one, you might throw up because you are out of balance entirely. So you're moving your head and your vision's still going, and you're like, if this blurry mess is gonna go on any further, I'm going to throw up. So you kind of have to just like sit there and like keep your head still and either stare at the ceiling or at a wall to like steady yourself
Just
until you come back fully from it.
deep breath, pretty
Yeah,
much.
essentially, deep breaths, like let it come out of your system fully, and wake up. And so that was fun. That's basically my most recent hospital story. But you said you had more, so go tell us more.
Yes, indeed. So, when I was younger, well, not exactly younger, I was, like 12, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was around that. I suffered from this illness that the doctor could only describe as a virus in your hip.
Okay. I think you've said this once before, but you haven't fully explained.
Yes, but I'm
Yeah.
saying it again because it's for the topic.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
So, basically, what it is it basically paralyzes you. Like
Mm,
literally, no joke. I was paralyzed from the waist down. I could not use my legs. But
wow.
here's the weird part. I knew they were there. I could still feel them. It wasn't like I squeezed them or hit them and I couldn't feel them. The
Mm-hmm.
nerves weren't gone.
Mm-hmm.
It was my inability to use them. And the only reason I found out that the nerves were still plenty functioning
Okay.
is I needed help doing literally everything except like eating. I needed help with mobility, moving around, anything that caused me to move from one spot to another or use the restroom or anything I needed help with.
Interesting.
So this was when I was still in public elementary school.
Okay.
So so whenever I need to go use the restroom, this was in the cafeteria. I was eating my lunch and I raised my hand because I needed help, and there was one of the ladies there who was willing to help me go use the restroom. So she pushed me over to the restroom, helped me out of my wheelchair, helped me onto the toilet, and I put a little bit of not even all my weight, just a little bit of my weight on one leg, and it felt like I had been stabbed in that leg. Like no
Interesting.
joke, just instant sword right through the leg. Like it was so painful that I just fell onto the toilet. Like
Wow.
just a
Okay.
little bit of weight, like pain, and then just fall. It was bad. So I couldn't even use crutches because crutches require you to use a little bit of your legs. No, I couldn't use them. Period. So it was like
Wow.
wheelchair only. And I dealt with this for about how long was it? I think it was about a week and a half.
Okay.
But it was like I slowly regained my way to walk. Like I could put just a teeny bit of weight on my legs, and then it got to the point like the end of like a week and a half, I could finally get up and walk. I'm like, oh, I can walk again. Like I was scared like I wouldn't be able to walk again. Like permanently paralyzed.
Oh no. But you're walking now, so that's good.
Yes, I can fully walk. I can run. I can jump. I can
Yeah.
walk. So So people who are paralyzed, now that I know what it feels like to be paralyzed, I don't want to say I know what it's like to be them, but I got a taste of what it's like to be paralyzed. It ain't fun.
Because I think a lot of people that are
You feel like
paralyzed,
you've lost.
yeah, I think a lot of people that are paralyzed also can't feel their legs. Some can, some can't. It all
Yeah,
depends.
the nerves are
Yeah.
typically, at least from the stories that I have read, people who are paralyzed means they can't feel their legs. They can't control them. They can't feel them. Nerve endings just don't work. Their nervous system, their legs doesn't work. So they could get their feet cut off and they wouldn't feel it.
Right.
Now that doesn't mean that's every person that's paralyzed. I mean, it might be, but I'm not a doctor. But it typically means you can't feel or control that part of your body anymore.
Right. So some
So
can when they're
yeah,
paralyzed. They just don't have enough strength to move them. Yeah.
they just don't have the
No
yeah.
muscle.
They're
Yeah.
legally paralyzed.
Legally blind. You remember that
So
meme?
people like that,
You remember that meme? The guy is
yes,
like, I'm legally blind.
legally.
That was funny.
So one thing that scared me is driving. No, I mean like in the future, because have you ever seen how a paralyzed vehicle works?
A bit.
So like a vehicle that somebody can drive but they're paralyzed.
A little bit.
It's everything is controlled by levers and wheels. Well, you got a steering wheel, but your gas and brake is a lever, and then other stuff. I don't remember off the top of my head, but no, it was not a fun experience
Imagine if like
to
it's
deal with that.
imagine if people's like a paralyzed driving car was like all it was a joystick, like a like a
Actually, that's what some of them are.
some of them like you
That's what
drive.
some of them actually are, believe it or not.
Wow, driving a
Yes.
car like a video game.
So I have actually seen. Um, so I have seen a mobility. It was a van that was converted to a mobility. So it would store their wheelchair in the back, and they could scoot up front. Now this was somebody with no legs,
Okay.
so they had both their legs amputated. The way they drove their vehicle is one joystick.
Interesting.
So they would have like a joystick to steer forward, back, steer. It was weird.
Huh. Okay.
But I mean, when you have a lifestyle like that, you kind of have to get used to it if you want to drive yourself around.
True.
Like it's either don't drive or get used to this. It's
Exactly.
like one or the other.
Right.
Like do I need to be chauffeured everywhere or do I want to be able to drive myself?
Right.
So it's, do I want to get used to this or am I going to be chauffeured? So
Cool.
yeah, so that was not a fun experience, and it gave me a appreciation for people who kept going, being paralyzed, and people who are paralyzed typically for life, so they're stuck with a lifestyle like that,
Yeah.
which is not fun.
Right. So
So
um
that was definitely another big one.
yeah. So do you want to tell any story of like the last time you were in the hospital to visit someone, like you weren't physically in it, but like you were at a hospital?
Yes.
Okay.
So the last time, so when I was visiting somebody in the hospital, it was my mom
Okay.
who was getting surgery done to get an organ removed. I don't know if my mom wants to go into detail about this because I don't know if she's going to listen to this episode or not.
Probably
But
won't, but it's
so
gallbladder,
she
right?
she needed an organ removed due to wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
A lot of people need to have organs removed,
But
including that one. But yeah, anyway, continue.
that one was due to the gallbladder. It wasn't due to it not functioning. It was due to stones in the gallbladder.
Right.
So
Yeah.
basically clogging it up, not allowing it to function properly.
Right.
So had to get that removed. It wasn't anything big, but it did kind of worry me because it was like a trip to the ER that turned into staying in the hospital. and she was only supposed to be in the hospital for a couple days. It ended up being over a week.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And my mom was even just like, um, what if I were to just go home, like stay at home, and then get rescheduled for surgery? Because my mom was going to be in the hospital, nothing to do for a couple days
Mm.
before surgeries could even be done.
Yeah.
So the nurse said you can do that, but then you're going to be waiting a while to get back on the schedule. So it's either stay here or something bad's going to happen. And my mom like knew, so she wanted to get up and walk around.
Mhm.
She walked around the level her room was on one lap and just basically was like, I can't do this anymore.
Oh.
So yeah, she knew it would be a good time to stay, or
Yeah.
a good idea to stay in the hospital room. But it should not have taken a week. It shouldn't have.
Yeah.
But
I bet that's
luckily,
expensive
that's
too,
all done.
to stay in the hospital for a week.
Yep,
Pretty
very
expensive.
expensive.
Dang.
Uh
Okay.
huh. They'll
What?
gladly take your money. I mean, it's not like they're not going to help you, but oh yeah, they're like, I want your money. But yeah,
I remember the last time I went to visit the somebody in the hospital was my grandfather on my dad's side, who had valve replacement surgery for his heart, so open heart
wow,
surgery.
that's a big surgery.
Oh yeah, really big surgery, and he was pretty okay. Like he didn't go
You guys
in
remember how my
and
wife?
like you didn't go in and he was like, you know, can't talk, can't lift a finger or anything. You went in and he was like, yeah, I'm all right. They just popped in there, replaced the valves, and I'm good now. And so, yeah, thankfully he's going strong even today. Like he was able to get up from that and walk and do pretty much everything he's wanted to do since then. Of course, he's 80 something now, so like he's not a young man anymore. But like for as old as he was, he recovered like surprisingly well for open heart surgery.
Well, that's good. He
Yeah,
recovered from it.
and that was like a
I
fine.
open heart surgery is can be successful, but it's really nerve wracking what has to go into open heart
Yeah.
surgery.
So, we're at 47 minutes. Do you want to add one more story to cap us off?
If I was going to add another story, it would take forever, and I don't know if I really want to tell it because it's very personal. It was
Oh, okay.
the story of my grandfather passing, but I don't know if I necessarily
Yeah,
want to tell that
probably
to the public.
better not. Probably just
Yeah,
maybe
so
after a while, maybe after like a year or longer or something, maybe. But like give it time to breathe. Um,
well, keep in mind, he passed away. Oh my gosh, it's been over 2 years now.
right. Can sometimes take a lot longer than that to be able to be comfortable telling the story, though. So maybe wait a little
I've
longer.
told I've told the stories to other people. It's just whether I wanted to be on the internet or not.
Right.
That's what I'm skeptical about. Like I'd rather just save it to myself. So
Good idea.
and tell it to who I want to tell it to in a personal way. So we're just gonna leave it at that.
All right. Well, if that's the case,
So do you not have anything more you would want to say?
I mean, I haven't, other than the surgeries when I was young and the surgery I had with my finger, I haven't, and visiting my grandpa, I haven't really been to a hospital that much in my life. I'll be honest. So,
Other than childhood, you had
like
mentioned.
other than all the times in my childhood which I don't remember besides the story I told and visiting my grandpa and my surgery, like now, between, like, since and between those two times, haven't been in. So I basically have nothing else. So I think we're gonna go ahead and end the episode there. And guys will have to tune in next week to find out what Nathan's topic will be that week, which should be interesting. So thank you everybody for watching this week's episode and listening, watching. The frickin' we don't have watch anymore, or not anymore, but yet. But maybe we will if we get popular enough. I don't know. But thank you for listening. Tune in next week.